Are there calls for impeachment out there? There certainly are. There's a new poll that finds many, though, are split on the controversial decision by some lawmakers to file a motion to have the president tried. We're back after this.
Should the president be impeached? A new poll shows voters are pretty evenly split when you ask that question.
A USA Today media ethics survey found Americans divided right down the middle, 42-42, whether or not President Trump should be removed from office. 34% say they would be upset if Congress impeaches the president, and 34% say they would be upset if Congress does not. Now, by the way, keep that up for a second, because I just want to point out the one thing that gets lost in translation, because this is something we learned in civics class, but just because you impeach somebody doesn't mean they're out of office. Absolutely. This means going up for trial. We just want to put that out there because there seems to be conflation. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yes. All right, let's bring in Cliff Young, lead pollster for Thomson Reuters. Cliff, it is good to have you on the show again. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. It's great to be back.
Let me ask you, what do you make of this poll? Split right down the middle here.
Yeah, it's right down the middle, 42-42. And the question is, what does that really mean?
Right.
Actually, in the U.S., we haven't had a lot of experience with impeachment. Indeed, even Nixon, he wasn't impeached. He resigned. So where do we go for some benchmarks? We had two recent impeachments globally. We had one in Brazil last year and another one in South Korea. We polled on those processes, those impeachment processes, and you really need to get up into the 70s before it's significant. So 50-50 split or 42-42 split, 42% that in favor of impeachment is high, but it's not so high that it puts the presidency at peril.
Well, and let's be honest, too. The fact that we have those numbers, but the fact also that if Congress in the hands of the Republican Party, it ain't going to happen. But nonetheless, there are people on the Democratic side who have filed articles. They want to see a vote on something at some point. Do you think that may backfire? Does that tend to backfire against the Democratic side?
No, I don't think so necessarily. I think the numbers right now are just reflecting where people stand. We basically have the population split 50-50 in favor or against Trump at this point. I think that's what these numbers really say, and I absolutely agree with what you're saying. It's not about just the polls. And impeachment, at least our experience with impeachment around the world, is you need to have support with public opinion, and what we're saying is 60 or 70%. You need to have the political will, that is, you know, the Congress has to be in favor of it, and you have to have material facts. You have to have something concrete. You have to have those three conditions to have the possibility, the real possibility for impeachment.
Cliff, this same survey found that 44% of people approve of the job the president is doing, but 51% disapprove. So I guess it's kind of, how do you balance those numbers when you look at when you talk about impeachment and it's split down the middle, but still the majority of people disapprove of what he's doing? Where does that show we are as a country?
Yeah, well, it's just saying that people, more people than not, are not liking his job necessarily, but not totally in favor of pushing him out, right? I think the most important thing to look at right now are the approval ratings. What do we know? We know the following. I call it the 40-point tipping point. Okay. At 40%, a sitting president has 50-50 odds of winning the next election. If he goes below that, he has less than 50-50 odds. Trump has hovered around 40%. He's dipped below lately. The overall average is around 38, 39. That's not a good place, but it's not the death knell for him.
All right. That is interesting to know. We're going to keep talking to you as the numbers continue to change, go up and down over the next couple of years. Cliff Young, it's always great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
It was great being on. Thank you so much.